and gentlemen, it's Scott here from Woke Society's here to drop another episode of amazing content. How is everybody doing today? Are we all still corona-free and social distancing? Doing what the government is telling us to do? Well, I can tell you right now, me and my family, we're still corona-free, and I still have a job, thank God. I'm working 3 days a week. It's been cut down by half, but I still have a job, and I'm very, very fortunate and grateful that I have it. And yeah, things are rolling along. So today's episode, we're going to be talking about the latest Q drops. Q has finally spoken about the coronavirus. The drops came yesterday. We're going to be looking at a thread from Praying Medic, just giving his synopsis of what he thinks the latest Q drops are. Going to get into a couple articles and just go over what's going on with the stimulus bill for the coronavirus. So it's going to be a quick episode, but you guys are getting a double feature today. We have this, which you're going to watch now, and then later tonight we have a big interview with Santa Surfing on the live stream. We're going to be doing it at 8 o'clock tonight. It's going to probably be about 45 minutes to an hour. She's going to take some questions from her viewers, and then I'm going to take some calls from you guys. If you guys want to ask her anything, we're going to be talking about Nasara and just Sarah tonight. It's a topic that a lot of people were asking me to go over. I just didn't have time. Santa has like a 7-part series, I believe, on this. So she's got more knowledge than I do on it. So I'm always willing to learn and have my viewers also learn and, learn some new things. So that's what's going on with that. So let's get the shameless plugs out of the way. We have the Woke Society's YouTube channel here. Like, share, comment, tell your friends and family about it. Get the word out there. Hit the like button. It gets this episode up in the search algorithms and it can be seen more easily. If you guys want to go to my Patreon, you guys can subscribe here for as little as $1 a month. That's $12 out of the year. You can do more than that. That is completely up to you. All these funds go back into the channel. We have the BitChute here for my backup channel for YouTube. If you hate YouTube that much, it's all there as well. My wokesocieties.com webpage has all my podcasting links, so you can download my content on the go. And now you can click the store link right here, and it brings you to my wonderful shop that has Q coasters, Pepe mugs, Q mugs, the Shift Stir spoon, and my personal favorite, the Woke Society's coffee mug, and some other cool beer steins and other cool things. So you can get your woke merch there and some Q swag as well. We're working on getting t-shirts and hats right now. I'm working with my brother on that. That is something I really want to do, and we're getting there. So again, don't forget, ladies and gentlemen, tonight we have the live stream with Santa Surfing at 8 o'clock. We're going to be getting into that. And before I get into the content, as you guys can see here on my screen, I had the TikTok app here. And so thankful to my wife that she showed me this app, because anybody that has a business, podcast, YouTube, if you're not on this app right now, you are truly losing out. I was looking for a way to reach younger viewers. I didn't realize how many young people are on this app, and it's constant. This app is going to take over, I believe, at some point. It came out like a year or two ago, and I've been using it, and these little videos that I've been putting out about Hollywood and just these daily red pills talking about Q, they're very easy to do. You can get super creative with them, but for what I'm doing, it's getting people to ask questions. And a lot of it, you have to fit so much content into 60 seconds, so it's hard. So you can't fit everything. So people in the comments are just asking questions. You can drop links to YouTube channels, Twitter, Joe M videos. It's just a very super easy way to get people to look at this content. So I'm encouraging everybody to get on the app. And for the ones who say, oh, it's Chinese owned, my response to that, let's use their weapons against them. We're all here on YouTube, right? We all know how YouTube is controlled by the Democrats, the socialist left. We all know this out in Silicon Valley. But yet here we are still. Let's use what they have against them. That's my attitude towards it. And you can take it or leave it. I could really care less. So let's get into the content here. So first up, I want to show you guys this video that I saw on Twitter before we get into the Q drops. Actually, 2 videos, one here and one of Trump. This is from Gemma O'Doherty. The tweet says, is this a U.S. Army officer standing in front of a giant white rabbit in the NWO Austrian enclave of Gallenkirch linked to the satanic St. Gallen Mafia? I don't know what all that is, but either way, I want you guys to see what's in the background of this video. 3 in quarantine, put away from the rest of us, and a big endorsement for fresh air and sunshine. Let's check out the video.
The tour of the commissary for now. I want to do an update to you guys in front of this giant bunny because I've never...
So for the people on the podcast, there is the lieutenant here, whoever he is, army officer. He is standing in the camera, and behind him is someone. It looks like dressed up as an Easter rabbit, but there's a rabbit, a white rabbit, and holding in the rabbit's hands is looks like a blue pill and a red pill. It's probably eggs, but either way, it's blue and red.
Never done that before. So let's start off with the numbers. Right now, we got 3 folks in quarantine. There are some positive cases up in the tri-border area. We're tracking about 8 up in the Geilenkirchen region. They're being taken care of by medical professionals. They've been put away from the rest of us so that we won't cross-contaminate one another. I sent out a link today about fresh air and sunshine. Please get out in the fresh air and the sunshine when we get that stuff. It has a curative effect. The tour of the commissary for now.
So I just thought it was interesting because he made this super easy. We all know Q's military operation, and of course we have the U.S. Army here, and he's standing. Why you think it could be coincidence? Could be coincidence, right? We don't know, but he's standing in front of a rabbit here. I'll pull it up so you guys can see it. Look at that. He's obviously making an attempt here to show the rabbit here with the blue and red pill in each of the hands. So I don't know. I just thought that was really interesting to see that. Our military is definitely woke, as you could say. Now, this other one here, I wanted to show here. This isn't Trump ripping a reporter for once. He's actually praising a reporter. I just wanted to show this because it shows a different side that we don't normally see, seeing the press ask fair questions. So this was a tweet from Ruth Ann saying, "I love whoever you work for. This is a very nice question. OANW, White House correspondent. This press has respect. President Trump on the Washington Post, they write inaccurate about me every single day, every single hour." Let's take a watch.
Back corner. Kelly Greeno with OAN, thank you. This morning, the Washington Post ran a story suggesting that you delayed taking action on the virus in January and February. Dr. Fauci has indicated that your action in the Chinese travel ban helped America immensely. What do you say to the Washington Post?
Well, I love whoever you're with. That's because I think that's such a nice question. No, I think the Washington Post covers us very inaccurately, covers me very inaccurately. I saw this story. I think it's a disgrace, but it's the Washington Post, and I guess we have to live with it. It's a very inaccurate, quiet. It's a very inaccurate story. From many people, I get a lot of credit for having closed our country very early to a very heavily infected country. China, unfortunately, China. I wish China would have told us more about what was going on in China long prior to us reading about it, even though the news isn't exactly disseminated. As you know, China kicked the Washington Post out of China, and they kicked the New York Times out of China, and I guess the Wall Street Journal. That's okay. I mean, that's what they do, and I think it's a terrible thing they did. But I also think it's terrible when people write inaccurately about you, and they write inaccurately about me every single day, every single hour. And by the way, your group really, I really think, and I just say fair, not good or bad. I think you write very fairly and do very fair reports.
And he keeps going on and on about it. Not on and on, but he gives a fair assessment of what the reporter asked. And it was just nice to see. He doesn't say good or bad. He says fair reporting. And that's honestly what we're lacking these days. Fair, unbiased truth. But that's why channels like mine and the hundreds and thousands of others out there are doing this as well. This is what we're trying to do. Bring this back so people are well informed without a political bias. But it was just nice to see him not shred a reporter, but every once in a while it is cool to see. Okay, so let's get into the meat and the potatoes of the episode today. So we have drop 3896, the China virus. This is what Q calls it. Absolutely amazing. So here we go. We're going to break this all down, but let me read it. The China virus, worth remembering. And then there's a link here to a YouTube video of Mike Pence talking about relations with China. We'll get into that a little bit later. But it says, Wuhan Institute of Virology, geolocation, first biosafety level 4 lab 2015, city Providence origin, hot zone geolocation. And then there's a link here to the Justice Department's article to the Harvard teacher and the 2 Chinese nationals. We're going to get into that too. And this is a quote here from that article. Unbeknownst to Harvard University, beginning in 2011, Leiber became a strategic scientist at Wuhan University of Technology in China and was a contractual participant in China's Thousand Talents plan from in or about 2012 to 2017. Rapid spread is in the kill boxes. Then we have a link here to the Epoch Times. End POTUS rallies. So, the Epoch Times article is about Chinese cell phones, their accounts dropping by the millions, which suggests, because I guess in China everyone's required to have a cell phone, and these accounts were just dropping, which may suggest that a lot more people died that weren't being reported originally when this whole thing started over there. We're going to get into that as well. So what was the whole point of this virus? Was it to end POTUS's rallies, end POTUS econ gains, end POTUS unemployment gains, end POTUS A, B, C, D, it goes on, weekend prior to president election, delay U.S.-China trade negotiations? So these are just questions that Q is posing. China prefers Biden plus VP as president, shelter Biden from public appearances, which we all know why that would be happening, shelter Biden debates, push new revised presidential election 2020, greater than vote by mail, is unsecure, as we all know this. We're going to get into all this. Push D wish list, unrelated items, CV bill. We're going to get into all those. So Q asks, what is the mathematical probability this occurs? The time bomb explodes at the exact point in time that allows for maximum damage above prior to president election. Outside of standard deviation, who benefits the most? Mueller failed, impeachment failed. Why was it critically important impeachment be rushed in the House? Mainstream media, D Party, Hollywood narratives, which we've all seen the videos of all these Hollywood actors lately. Absolute shit show. The coup failed. D Party leading nominee established Super T prior to lockdown takeover. Sanders, elimination Biden front. Occam's razor simply states that of any given set of explanations for an event occurring, the simplest one is most likely the correct one. So there was a lot there, a lot of word soup. So let's break this down here bit by bit. So let's see. So let's go over to the thread here by Praying Medic. If you guys aren't following Praying Medic, you're missing out. He does Q threads every time Q drops, and he gives his synopsis of what he thinks is going on here. And his insight is fantastic. So I would recommend everyone going to follow him. So he writes, Patriots and Anons been waiting for Q to weigh in on the coronavirus pandemic. And a lot of the information is provided in this post. So let's look here. So the first thing on the Q drop here, there is a picture. It looks like from some kind of book from Clinical Microbiology Reviews. This was in October 2007. So a 2007 study warned that eating horseshoe bats, which are a known coronavirus reservoir as practiced in China, would lead to a future viral outbreak. So this was something that was already studied back in 2007 that they knew if they didn't stop would eventually cause a viral outbreak. Q linked this in the picture. For the podcasters, that's what the picture is in this Q drop. So that link here, Q's first link to a video where VP Pence explained the Trump administration's concerns and its policy towards China. We don't have to play it. We know what the policies are towards China right now. We're trying to negotiate trade deals, but that's kind of kibosh right now with the virus going on. So the Wuhan Institute of Virology was China's first biosafety level 4 laboratory. In 2005, researchers found that horseshoe bats are a natural reservoir for coronaviruses. And Praying Medic gives links here to the Wuhan Institute of Virology, and he highlights the parts that he was just discussing. The coronavirus outbreak has caused increased scrutiny of labs that handle deadly pathogens. Of course it has. So we'll look at the interesting facts which prove nothing on their own, but when analyzed collectively, paint an interesting picture. So for years, Senator Dianne Feinstein has lobbied for the interest of China. Are we about to learn the real person? She's pro-China. Could very well be. And I'm not sure if this was the same senator that we just talked about in the last episode, where these people had knowledge of the virus coming and they were dumping stocks before that, which is absolutely illegal. It's insider trading. But again, we're looking at Senator Dianne Feinstein, and she's always lobbied for China. Wondering why. So Q was talking about the Biden family being benefited financially from China. Hunter Biden's China connections plagued by ethics questions. This was a Fox News article. We know the connections that China has with the Bidens. They've been doing a lot of money deals. On January 28th, Charles Lieber, chair of Harvard's Department of Chemistry and Chemical Biology, was arrested. While receiving grant money from the Defense Department, he failed to disclose his association with the Wuhan University of Technology. So that brings us to the Department of Justice article here with the description of the arrest. So Harvard University professor and 2 Chinese nationals charged in 3 separate China-related cases. The Department of Justice announced today that the chair of Harvard University's Chemistry and Chemical Biology Department and 2 Chinese nationals have been charged in connection with aiding the People's Republic of China. Dr. Charles Lieber, 60, chair of the Department of Chemistry and Chemical Biology at Harvard University, was arrested this morning and charged by criminal complaint with 1 count of making a materially false, fictitious, and fraudulent statement. Lieber will appear this afternoon before Magistrate Judge Marion B. Bowler in federal court in Boston, Massachusetts. According to court documents since 2008, Dr. Lieber, who has served as the principal investigator of the Lieber Research Group at Harvard University, which specialized in the area of nanoscience, has received more than $15 million in grant funding from the National Institutes of Health and Department of Defense. So he was receiving this grant money, obviously, to do research, but he was not disclosing to these departments of who he was working with. These grants require the disclosure of significant foreign financial conflicts of interest, which obviously, if you're working with China, that would be conflicts of interest, including financial support from foreign governments or foreign entities. It's right there. They just said it. Unbeknownst to Harvard University, beginning in 2011, Lieber became a strategic scientist at Wuhan University of Technology in China and was a contractual participant in China's Thousand Talents Plan from in or about 2012 to 2017. And the rest of the article is talking about the 2 Chinese nationals that were working with him. So the thing is, before we continue, I just wonder how many more of these scientists in these prestigious universities were doing backdoor deals with not even China's, but other countries in general, and doing God knows what kind of research and swapping information and, who knows? And this was just one that got caught. But this is a big one because this is directly linked to the Wuhan lab that we know the virus originated from. So just very interesting, but Q points this out for a very specific reason. So as we continue on the thread here, let's talk about the link from the Epoch Times. Praying Medic states here, China requires all citizens to register and use a cell phone. A decrease of 21 million users. This is what the article was about. 21 million users just dipped off the system. So these 20 million users from the same time last year may indicate more deaths due to coronavirus than have been reported through official channels. And we've all been talking about that China was delaying, killing off scientists, rounding people up, silencing them to not let the word get out of what was really happening. And that tells me there's other ulterior motives here behind this virus, that China was willing to let this virus run rampant throughout their country, not getting ahead of it. And they probably knew about it. But there's other reasons of why this virus was getting out. They wanted to get out of the country specifically. So Praying Medic continues, Donald Trump's tough stance on China, especially his position on trade, would naturally make the Chinese government prefer Joe Biden as their next president. Of course they would. We all know, Biden's been buddy-buddy with China even when he was in the Obama administration. It's very apparent. They don't want Trump. They don't want Trump as the president. I can tell you that right now. But Praying Medic asks some interesting questions. Isn't it interesting how the panic over the coronavirus ended the president's rallies, ended his economic gains, ended his unemployment gains? Isn't it interesting how the panic over the coronavirus has sheltered Biden from public appearances, sheltered Biden from debates? And you guys all know, every video that I was putting out, I was showing Biden's misuse of words, stumbling over words, which I can't really talk about because I stumble over words all the time. But either way, you guys get the point. He looks like he has dementia on stage in front of thousands of people. How can that be our leader of our country? It just can't be. But he asks an interesting question here. Shelter Biden from debates and public appearances. We were seeing people get close to him, challenging him, and he was just being disgusting and nasty to anyone who challenged his views. We saw it with that union worker talking about the Second Amendment rights. We saw that. I played it on this channel. Isn't it interesting how the panic over the coronavirus led to a delay in U.S.-China trade negotiations? And isn't it interesting how the panic over the coronavirus led to a push for new laws allowing voting by mail in a presidential election, which is less secure? Which is, this is what we're going to be talking about I said last time Nancy Pelosi was trying to slip in abortion bills into the stimulus package, being very sneaky about it. And this was also something they were trying to sneak in, voting by mail with no voter ID. So how can you possibly track people who are voting if they can send in as many ballots as possible? It's corrupt. That is what's going on here. And this is the tweet also referenced in the Q drop. Isn't it interesting that Nancy Pelosi's emergency coronavirus bill would allow ballot harvesting and permit people to vote without an ID? And this is exactly what it is here. This is the tweet. This is from Representative Andy Harris. These are issues that shouldn't be addressed at this time. And it's called ballot harvesting. That's exactly what this is. And that's exactly what they're trying to slip in because they do not want Trump to win the 2020 election. It's obvious. So as we continue on here, they're saying here from Tom Cotton AR, did a thread on items hidden in Nancy Pelosi's China virus bill? And we're going to go over that in just a moment here. Let me take a look. Okay. So yeah, there's a list here from Tom Cotton here that he wrote down of what exactly that the Democrats are looking to as far as their wish list that they want in before helping the American people. And just some of the examples are bailing out all current debt of Postal Service, required early voting, 10K bailout for student loans, greenhouse gas statistics for individual flights, $15 minimum wage, and the list goes on and on. And he writes, the Democrats see an opportunity in this crisis not to help the American people, but to hold an emergency relief bill hostage until they get their radical wish list. And that's exactly what's going on here. So we're still focusing on this one Q drop. We have 2 more to go. Praying Medic is stating here, what is the mathematical probability that this occurs? The time bomb explodes at the exact point in time that allows for maximum damage above prior to the presidential election. Again, Q is suggesting that this was all planned from the get-go, that this was going to happen regardless, to throw a monkey wrench into everything, all the momentum that Trump is generating. Outside of standard deviation, high probability, who benefits the most? We all know it's the Democrats that are benefiting the most from all of this carnage right now. And Q wrote, Mueller failed, impeachment failed, and we keep going down here. He ends with, Occam's razor simply states that any given set of explanations for an event occurring, the simplest one is the most likely the correct one. And ladies and gentlemen, that's where I'm at with this right now, that this entire thing was to damage our economy, the world economy, but mostly ours, to bring down the rallies, the Trump rallies. They want Biden to win. So what this didn't just affect Trump's rallies, it affected Bernie Sanders, all the other candidates that were running. But now it's mostly Sanders and Biden, but Biden's most likely going to get it now. But it stopped the negative press of Biden. Everyone's focused on the coronavirus. No one's talking about how he's still under investigation by the Ukraine government. This is all things that are being taken away. It's drawing attention from. This is definitely, we can't say this anymore because people have said this for a while, that this is the deep state's last card to pull. That's not true. This stuff's going to keep happening. This is the best thing that they could get besides war. The entire world is watching this right now. It's every day. Everyone's talking about it. We're all self-quarantined. This is what's going on. So let's look at the other Q drops here. So 3897, D's adding no voter ID and anonymous bailout, harvesting to coronavirus, prevent party destruction by any means necessary. These people are sick. Nothing can stop what is coming. Nothing. And we just went over that ballot harvesting tweet. And the last one I want to go over here, it says Spygate. This is 3898. This is the last drop that Q posted yesterday. Spygate could make Watergate look like a third-rate burglary. And Q writes, the key that opens all doors, the start. And it's a link here to the Daily Caller where it says Spygate can make Watergate look like a third-rate burglary. And I want people to remember that Durham's report is not stopping. They are still investigating. This is a criminal investigation. FISA was the start, but Spygate is going to be the one that opens the keys to all the doors and the fun begins. So this is just a recap of what is going on with the Spygate scandal. And you guys all know what's going on with Spygate. There's no updates on it. We're all just waiting here, but this is just a link here. This was a reminder, I believe, from Q just to keep your eyes on the prize. And just remember everything that was going on before this virus, what we were waiting for, what we were talking about, Trump's momentum at the rallies, Biden's corruption. This is what we were all focusing on. So it's fun. It's so great because Q was silent on this for so long. We just wanted some kind of input from them on this virus, and they finally gave it to us, and it's hopeful. Trump said, we got what? We got cures coming out for this already, vaccines coming out for this. I honestly don't believe this is going to last that very long, and if it carries out into the summer, great. We still have till November, ladies and gentlemen, to really pick up the economy again. It's all going to come rushing back. It's all going to come rushing back, and everything's going to be A-okay. So let me just make sure that's everything I wanted to show everybody. Oh, and lastly, before I forget to throw this in, Nancy also wants to get $25 million added to the House of Representatives in this bill as well. And Rosie Memos wrote, seriously, are you each getting custom hazmat suits? What the F is this? Yeah. This is what we're seeing here. So that is all I got for you, ladies and gentlemen. I wanted to get this episode out early so you guys can watch it. Please go and make sure that you tune in live tonight. YouTube has not been sending notifications out for my live streams, which is not a surprise at all. It's going to be tonight at 8 o'clock. I'm going to have Santa Surfing on with us. We're going to be talking about Nasera and Jacera. We're going to be taking questions from her fans, our fans, and it's just going to be a good time. So make sure you catch that out tonight. Subscribe, like, share to the YouTube channel. Go to my BitChute, my Patreon to up your fandom, and of course, the podcasting links on all my websites, and check out my store and all that good stuff. So thank you, everybody, for joining me today. I will see you tonight, and until then, stay woke.